I'll be joined in some time with my guests on Balochistan, especially the founding chief of the Baloch Republican Party, Bramudha Bukti, is going to be joining us in a few minutes. But I'd like to first go to G. Parthasarathy. Mr. Parthasarathy, very serious, series of meetings have been going on with the government. The Prime Minister personally is chairing many of these meetings. He's briefed the President yesterday, and today also, members of the CCS have been meeting. In your view, what are we moving towards? Without speculating too much, how do you view the way the government seems to be thinking about things now?
Having watched such situations at least to 40 years of my career, I get the following feeling that the Prime Minister is determined that nothing precipitate will be done. Two, whatever will be done after very careful consideration and weighing pros and cons. As I see it, the first objective is going to be to blunt the Pakistani diplomatic farce in New York. And Arnab, it's really amusing that Nawaz Sharif is there on a day when a person of Afghan origin was radicalized in Quetta, which is the head of the Taliban's Quetta Shura, is located there, backed by the ISI. And the guy goes and sets off bombs in New York. This has happened earlier from Shehzad, who wanted to blow up the Times Square. It's happened recently in San Bernardino in California. So not just Pakistan, Pakistanis abroad are now being viewed as terrorism in New York itself, at a time when Nawaz Sharif is pontificating about how innocent he is. He has already got snubbed by Kerry. And apart from that, they've already been snubbed by France, Britain, Germany, Russia, most importantly Russia. And lastly, even China has, confessed that terrorism is a bad thing. So I think we should, what the Prime Minister seems keen on doing is firstly seeing that this Pakistani diplomatic farce in New York is exposed, which it will be, because not a single permanent member of the Security Council is going to fall in line. And then thereafter, I think, this diplomatic offensive, to my mind, will be carried forward to SAARC, where 3 SAARC countries for the first time are joining.
But will it be restricted to diplomacy?
No. I think, let's be very, very clear. Arnab, and I'm going to be totally frank with you and your audience. Any retribution from our side, it would be very unwise at this point in time, because it will divert attention firstly from the diplomatic effort. Secondly, I'd like to say that I know the Pakistanis. Don't forget, I served in the army before I was in the foreign service. After such an incident, every border patrol across the line of control will be on 100% alert. So let things settle down for some time and leave this to the army. I'm afraid I was very disappointed in what happened in Pathankot, when you have dozens of battalions of special forces and you send in the NSG. Let the army deal with this. Don't forget, 17 of their brethren, or 18 now, have been killed. As they say, badla lenge, they will take their revenge. This is an army which is not going to forgive or forget. It's their boys who have been killed. It's a question of their izzat going. So the military response will come appropriately in a measured manner at a time and place of their choosing. I have no doubt about that.
Right. Also tonight I am joined by several guests from Balochistan. Bramudha Bukti, founding chief of the Baloch Republican Party, is with me tonight, and very importantly, just to take you through the news pegs of the day, Bramudha Bukti has confirmed that he will be approaching the Indian embassy for asylum in India. So that's one of the day's big headlines. Mr. Bukti, welcome. I hope you can hear me tonight. This is Arnab here from Mumbai. And also with us this evening is Ahmar Mustikhan, of course, vocal defender of the human rights of the people of Baloch. And we have Mehran Marri, who is the Baloch representative to the UN High Commissioner for Refugees and the EU, and he's joining us from Geneva. Mr. Marri, welcome. This is Arnab here. Thanks very much, all of you, for tuning in tonight. Bramudha Bukti, just tell us more about this. When are you moving the Indian Embassy for asylum? What kind of response are you seeking? Have you had any informal interaction with the Indian authorities? And what will be the consequence and the impact of your getting asylum in India for the people of Balochistan? Yes, please, Mr. Bukti. Can't hear you. Sorry, I'm not getting the audio. We'll try and fix that. Ahmar Mustikhan, what will be the impact if he does get asylum till I fix the audio line?
The impact is a very positive impact on the region. This should have been done many years ago. I remember when Mr. Bukti was in Afghanistan in 2009, I spoke to him. And of course, there was a lot of insecurity in Afghanistan at the time. So I asked him that, why are you not going to India? He said that this is his first preference to go to India. But then at the time, he was not getting a positive response from New Delhi. I think it was very unfortunate at the time that he could not go to India. But now, since we have a government in India that came into power, and I personally went in DC and distributed prasad when Sri Narendra Modi won the elections. So I'm hoping that this time now the situation has changed for the benefit of the people of Balochistan and for the benefit of 1.25 billion people of India. Whenever I think of them, my spirits are raised. I'm so happy that Mr. Bukti has made the right decision to go to India. I hope to join him there too.
Absolutely. The people of India will welcome you, Mr. Mustikhan, with open arms.
Thank you.
Now, Mehran Marri, you are the representative to the UNHRC and the EU. Bramuda Bukti said that Pakistani generals and the ISI officers will be dragged to the International Criminal Court for their involvement in atrocities in Balochistan, for genocide, for crimes against humanity, for war crimes and the crime of aggression. I think they should be, because 1,000 bullet-ridden bodies have been recovered from various parts of Balochistan in the last 6 years. And these are ethnic Baloch. This is genocide going on in Balochistan. Is the international mood changing vis-a-vis Pakistan on the issue of Balochistan since India came out in the open? Mr. Marri.
Absolutely. It has changed. We've seen in the Human Rights Council in this session, since Mr. Modi's speech addressing the human rights violations in Balochistan, the mood in the United Nations Human Rights Council has become extremely sympathetic towards Balochistan. The issue of Baloch human rights is being raised at multitudes of levels. There's briefings being held, demonstrations being held, and interventions being made by various NGOs and human rights organizations in favor of Balochistan's case. So yes, we are very optimistic that in future it will go even further. And as to the point that Mr. Bukti said that Pakistani generals should be dragged to the international criminal courts, we've been wanting to do that for years. But now we're glad that the international community should be on our side and assist us in accomplishing our goal of dragging these generals to international criminal courts and get them hanged over there for crimes against humanity committed in Balochistan.
Well, I can't agree with you more. You have 3,000 Baloch documented missing between 2005 and now, 18,000 reported missing since the last 4 decades. This is one of the greatest single genocides that's been going on. Now, for whatever reason, Mr. Parthasarathy, we've been quiet about it. We haven't been as supportive as we should have been in the past. In the given situation that we are also confronting Pakistan openly on the issue of terrorism, where does the Baloch angle fit in, Mr. Parthasarathy?
Look, I think the Baloch were never meant to be a part of Pakistan. Jinnah agreed firstly personally to that they are separate. Then Jinnah and Mountbatten agreed on August 11, 1947 that they are separate. And then they were cheated. They were cheated and duped into becoming part of Pakistan. I think the fact of the matter is, Arnab, the time has come to document all this and present it to the world. And we should be cooperating with our Baloch brothers in seeing that all this comes to the notice of the world. First the duplicity and then the horrendous human rights abuses. You know, twice the infamous General Tikka Khan, known as the Butcher of Bangladesh, was also the Butcher of Balochistan. So I think the Pakistan army, which is now the centerpiece of global terrorism, should also be exposed for its crimes in Balochistan. And I would think it would be good to draw a comparison between the Pakistan army's behavior in Bangladesh and in Balochistan, where they were guilty in both places of attempted genocide. That then will make your case strong in the world. No. And it should come from our Baloch brothers. Of course, any help we can give them, we should. Because from the day that Jinnah moved, he was, and you know, unfortunately we have some admirers of Jinnah even in India, but the fact of the matter is that he duped them. He served the Khan of Kalat, he promised them independence and he duped them. Since then, there have been successive crackdowns. People have been hanged in the Hyderabad jail in the 1950s. I think the Baloch have suffered a lot, and we owe it to them.
But are the Baloch...
One more point I'd like to make. The trouble is not only in Balochistan. I think with this Punjabi government, there are signs of disquiet on the tribal areas also of the Northwest Frontier Province. So let's move along bearing this in mind, because Pakistan always talks about the vulnerabilities of India.
Yeah, before I go to General Bakshi, I want to try once more with Brahmuda Bukti of the Baloch Republican Party. Can you hear me, Mr. Bukti? Now is the line clearer? If it is, can you hear me? I don't think I have the line with him. I'm going to have to try this later. We'll get you into a studio tomorrow. Ahmar Mustikhan, what is going to be the impact of Mr. Bukti, who unfortunately we can't hear tonight because of this bad audio link? He's getting asylum in India. What's going to be the impact if he stays in India and operates out of India? Will more Baloch then come in? And can we therefore have a Baloch liberation movement, if required, being directed from India, because there's no other alternative but for us to give sanctuary to these people?
Yes. You see, I have always called India Mother India. We are the sons of Mother India. We Baloch, as you know, have never called ourselves Pakistanis. We were made Pakistanis against our will at the point of gun. So we are your own. We are your sons. We are your daughters. We are also the sons and daughters of Hinglaj Mata. We have got historic, religious, spiritual connections. Pakistan should not come in the way between us. I have always said, you see, in the Baluchi there is a saying that if someone gives you a glass of water, remember it for 100 years. So if our Indian elder brothers, sisters give us a sanctuary, shelter, I'm pretty sure we will remember it for 1,000 years. And I am calling for a treaty of friendship between a free Balochistan and India, a treaty of 1,000 years of friendship. This is what I dream. And I dream that this song of Vande Mataram may not only be limited to India, but we should also teach our children, the Baloch children, that when they sing the Baloch national anthem, they should also sing Vande Mataram, because we are not like Pakistanis. We don't share their bigotry. We don't share their hatred. We never said that we cannot live with Hindus. It was they who said that, and that it is they who are doing all kinds of killings. You see, millions of people have been displaced. You can see in Kashmir, you can see in Balochistan, you can see in Afghanistan. It's not just one pocket, it's just not one area. They are doing it all over. So there is a need for India to take the lead of Balochistan. Afghanistan, Bangladesh, at the regional level. SAARC, you see, India has never actually exerted its influence, its power. Now India will be a global power. It is the century of India that is coming.
Yeah. And can I, Ahmar Mustikhan, there are phrases which are used very often. And some of those phrases are technical, phrases like asylum. But Mehran Marri, if and when, and I'm sure this is a question of when, Brahmuda Bukti comes to India, and you come to India, and Ahmar Mustikhan comes to India, you'll be coming home as our brothers and sisters. You will be coming home. And why our support to you, I don't know how you view it,
Thank you.
Mr. Marri, is from the bottom of our heart, is because we do not covet the land of Balochistan. We have no territorial ambitions vis-a-vis Balochistan, unlike the Pakistanis who have, some territorial interests in Kashmir. The Baloch have reached out to India for moral support, Mr. Marri, and as a country that has accepted all oppressed people, whether it's be people from Burma, Myanmar, or people, Tibetan refugees, it is incumbent upon us to reciprocate if an aggrieved groups of our brothers and sisters ask us for help. And there are historical reasons for it. Now, Mr. Marri, tell me, how enthused are Baloch citizens, activists across the world today? I've seen a virality in the social media and the way Baloch are responding now. They're responding as if with a sentiment that they are not alone. How are the Baloch responding differently today, say from 5 months back?
Of course, Arnab. Arnab, the situation has changed tremendously after Mr. Modi's comments. And we can see that India is very serious. And as you're saying such nice words to us, Baloch, of your sincerity, that how sincere you guys are about our cause and our well-being, we can see it. It's only been 5 weeks, but it has been raised in the Human Rights Council for the first time in 70 years. The Indian mission has spoken about the human rights violations committed by Pakistan. And one interesting point that we should focus on jointly, us and the Indians, the diplomatic farce that the Pakistani missions have created in 70 years. They are butchers on the ground, as somebody was mentioning the Tika Khan. Pakistani generals are all butchers, but they pretend to be vegetarian butchers in the United Nations. You should see how they're crying about these charamars that Indians using in Kashmir. These guys are throwing 1,000-pound bombs from F-16s on Baloch civil populations. They are razing buildings to the ground. They are killing women and children, livestock, burning houses, rape and pillage. And these guys are crying about charamars.
What about the struggle on the ground?
Yeah, I feel sorry for
what about the struggle on the ground?
There's no comparison.
No, but what about the struggle on the ground, Ahmar Mustikhan? Is there a struggle building on the ground? If there is, tell us about it. Because I know that the Pakistani media is gagged on reporting on Balochistan, which is why they found it uncomfortable when for the first time we put out a Times Now, India for Balochistan. What about the people, our brothers and sisters on the ground in Balochistan? How are they responding and how are they fighting?
Thing, if I could...
Yes,
if
Mr.
I could just put one point.
No, because the reason I'm telling you, the reason I'm telling you this, Mr. Marri,
Pakistan army in Balochistan.
Exactly.
The entire village would be razed to the ground. Everybody will be killed over there. F-16s will be bombing that area. Did that happen in India? No. That's the difference.
No, because I'm seeing pictures out there and I don't know Ahmar tonight. You seem to be subdued this evening, but fact is, Ahmar, these pictures, I don't know if you're seeing this evening, that we've got from activists on the ground are pictures, I can describe it to you, of Pakistani army tanks who are rolling in, fully armed, with machine guns put on top of them, across the streets of Balochistan. They're rolling in the army there, you're struggling abroad, but I mean, what's happening on the ground? What about your brothers and sisters on the ground as the Pakistani army is rolling in its tanks on your soil? This is happening in the western region of occupied Balochistan, let me tell you.
On the streets.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, I would like to say that these war crimes in Balochistan has reached each and every village, each and every town. In the past, the struggle would be limited to the mountains, but now it is widespread. There is no village in Balochistan where there are no martyrs. There are martyrs colonies in all districts of Balochistan. The Baloch youth, especially 18 to 45, they have said they are not going to sit with Pakistan.
Yeah.
They don't want to suffer. They don't want to lead the lives that we have had to lead. Pakistan's mission is to have the land, not the people.
This is not possible.
Killed, as you said,
Mr. Parthasarathy, Mr. Partha, this policy today, and Ms.
Arnab, can I also just
GD
make a
Bakshi,
point
okay,
here?
GD Bakshi and then Partha, please. Yeah, GD Bakshi, go on first. Yeah, go on, GD.
You know, Arnab, it would be essential for us to mount pressure on Pakistan's military pressure on Pakistan's eastern flank to take the pressure off the Baloch people who have been at the receiving end of genocide for close to 70 years. 1958 they revolted first in a major way. 1973 10,000 of their Marri, Mengal and the Baloch fighters had taken to the hills. 6 divisions of the Pakistani troops had been unleashed on them. Attack helicopters. The Shah of Iran had also supplied attack helicopters. Air Force jets had bombed. This was one rebellion which was crushed with the utmost cruelty. The utmost cruelty which has not been paralleled. The amazing fact is for 70 years we have let Pakistan get away with this. It has been placing us in the dock for curfews in Kashmir when there has been genocide in Balochistan. The murder, mass murder, 25,000 Baloch killed, taken off the streets, tortured, their bodies dumped. We have let them get away. Arnab, I want to make a very significant point today. From the military point of view, the Baloch cards that the Prime Minister has unveiled could not have come earlier. I mean, it would have been too late.
No, who held him back?
China is building the road. No. Can I just complete this? This is very important.
No. Who's been holding it back? My question is, one second, GD.
No.
GD, first of all, I don't believe it's a Baloch card. No. First of all, GD, in the phrasing of it, let's get it correct. As I said, if and when asylum is given, actually, Brahmuda Bukti will be coming home. He's our brother. But I'm asking you here today, Partha, since there's a sense of realism which is now coming into our foreign policy. The question will also be asked then that what has happened to the Baloch people has been going for a long time. 14,000 people gone missing since 2013 and not a single person convicted. But our governments have never got into this discussion. Why have we been so utterly defensive? Why have we often felt that, oh, that's going to be meddling into the internal affairs of Pakistan? Where is this sort of sense of trepidation in our diplomacy coming from? Partha.
Look, I can say this. Yeah. Basically, this is the concept of non-interference has been ingrained since the 1950s. But when it does not necessarily apply for our neighbors. After all, when Bangladesh faced a problem, we did intervene. So I think in the case of Balochistan, yes, there may be factors earlier which I'm not aware of, but better late than never. And I'm happy we have done this at this point in time, because I think in projecting this to the international community, we should be very, very clear. They need international support, and that should be a narrative built on human rights. And I think with the Baloch brothers can rest assured that Indian communities everywhere in the world would be happy to help them, and that projecting it to the world, to the US Congress, in Europe, where conscience matters, yes. But also we need to bear in mind that this is a strategic triangle which we have of Balochistan there, the Afghans, there is India, and then we need to look at it. One of your speaker, one of my Baloch friends spoke about India, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. I want to assure them that as far as I am concerned, I see no reason why we shouldn't carry that cooperation forward, because it will benefit the Baloch.
Yes.
And it will expose Pakistan, because it is not just India and the Baloch.
Yeah.
The Afghans and Bangladesh are accusing them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've got our priorities right. My personal view is, the three of us, like we downgraded our participation in the meeting of home ministers and finance ministers, we should downgrade our presence or boycott the SAARC summit in Islamabad.
Absolutely.
After all, SAARC has been paralyzed by Pakistan, and we've got alternatives to SAARC. By next month, Arnab, you must cover this. We will be setting up a meeting of BRICS and countries other than Pakistan in the subcontinent, including Myanmar and Thailand, all across the Bay of Bengal, which called BIMSTEC. So we have an alternative which is ready to cooperate with us.
Yeah.
Pakistan joined SAARC only with one reason: not to cooperate or do anything good for South Asia, but to sabotage India.
Yeah, absolutely, Partha. I completely agree with you on that.
Sabotage India.
Completely agree with you on that.
Therefore, SAARC is a farce.
No, but
SAARC is a farce. Let's get on to the Eastern Quadrangle. Let's get on.
I would say, in fact, that Prime Minister that the government should have, Partha. I close with this. We should have an international conference, call representatives from around the world, and an international conference only to put the focus on Balochistan, and let that conference happen on our soil, in our capital. Let the whole world be brought.
I want to tell my Baloch friends.
Please.
I want to tell my Baloch friends that when I was in Washington, the first person who pleaded the Baloch cause was an American journalist called Selig Harrison, who used to be the New York Times correspondent. He's the person who wrote the first book about repression.
He's our elder, yes.
So there are friends that Baloches have
know him
everywhere.
very well.
Yeah. Well, I think we have a strong consensus on that, and I would only say more power to our Baloch brothers and sisters for doing what they are doing. Ahmar?
Arnab?
Yes, Ahmar?
May I just add one thing? You say, what has happened in Kashmir at Uri, my salutes to the 18 fallen heroes of India. They were our brothers. They were our shaheed. They were our martyrs. And in that light, I would like to also appeal to the Indian government to please consider crowd-sourced funding to set up Kashmir Defense Fund and Balochistan Freedom Fund. We are having a lot of problems with resources at every level. So please, I hope everyone will look into these issues.
Absolutely,
so that the goal can be achieved.
Absolutely. Well, we are giving you support in every other way as well. Thank you very much for joining me on that debate on the Newshour tonight, on an evening which I may say, Ahmar, is an evening of great consequence, because a consensus has built up, Partha.
Namaskar.
A consensus has built up, General Bakshi,
Namaskar.
on the need for us to act very, very strongly vis-a-vis and against Pakistan. The only question now is when
Arnab, can
and
I
how.
just say one thing?
GD, okay?
Just one thing to conclude.
Yes, GD.
Arnab, it is in our strategic imperative to help the Baloch people, because the Chinese road that they are building, the CEPC, has huge bulges which reach out towards Punjab and Rajasthan. That means Chinese mechanized forces can be deployed on this road. The port of Gwadar is a Damocles sword to our sea lines of communication.
Yes.
If we help the Baloch brothers, we help ourselves.
Yes, we
get
should
out of this strategic encirclement
General Bakshi,
before it goes into place.
General Bakshi, for years now I've been saying so.
Internationally.
And I'm glad it's happening sooner than later. Yes, I'll give Mehran the last word. Mehran from Geneva.
Just one point I'd like to make. I'd agree with General Bakshi. The legality of CPAC has to be raised internationally, because it's a totally illegal project. Pakistan has occupied Balochistan. Balochistan has occupied territory of Pakistan. How could Chinese have the legal right to build CPAC on Baloch soil? It's a total illegal act, and it should be challenged internationally.
Well, Well, we'll follow this up. I thank you all.
They are also illegally.
Arnab,
going across
Arnab,
Indian
just
soil
one point I
in
want
the
to make.
Shaksgam Valley and Balochistan.
Yes, absolutely, Partha. I say question
One point,
every line,
as I said,
including the
Arnab,
Dural
it's
line.
not
There
just
is in the
Balochistan.
US,
The CPEC is through our territory.
in the
Absolutely.
US, Arnab, there is a law called the Alien Tort Law. Under the Alien Tort Law, army generals who commit crimes against humanity can be prosecuted on US soil. There are many army generals of Pakistan who have assets in the United States. If we can bring up this case against them, I am pretty sure they will have no cover.
Well, I think all options are there,
Alien
but you
law.
need to have a big global campaign, and I think this is the time to do that. You have all our support. Gentlemen, thank you for that chat on the News Hour tonight. Thank you.
Namaskar.